Right. Okie dokie. Sorry about that little break in play there.
Okay. I think we're talking about the Roman coins and how I was beginning to see them more as British or as much British, and that even some of the letter shapes were ambiguous very often, which gave you permission to suggest another word. For example, A and H. The Romans shaped their letters very often like an A. You can see there's a gap at the top.
Yeah, a lot of the A's I've noticed on the coins since you put me onto it, where a lot of them are just like this, aren't they? Like inverted V's. There's no crossbar, and they don't actually.
That's right. Like A's, sometimes it's a V, sometimes it's a V. An inverted V with a bar. Sometimes it's an up to uprights. And they're still meant to be read as an A. So you can.
They give an awful lot of flexibility, should we say?
But it gives you permission to try. Okay, what if I do take it as an H? How does it affect it? And what information do you get? And it's often pertinent if you have the courage to follow that. You get information which can fit. So it's really interesting. So the more I did that, and the more of those ambiguities I found and played with, the more it seemed to be on purpose.
Oh, okay.
So that you could get this duplication of meant to be Latin, can be read in that way, but you can also read it as British Welsh. So
yeah, it makes some sense because it's one thing we've noticed. Well, I know with the Cameroglyphics, the hieroglyphs reading, there's multiple meanings is part of the fun of it, isn't it? Really,
and it seems to be in the mind and in the playfulness of the genius of the people. There's a playfulness often and a punning kind of quality, which is
very clever. You can apply different things. Yeah, one language. Yes.
Yeah. Astonishing. The second person I went to was. After that was Titus Quintus Crispinus Supplicianus. I went to him next.
Easy for you to
say. And then I found this character.
Zoom in slightly. Just zoom in a bit.
Yep. Yeah.
Thank you. Yep.
Right.
The son of Titianus.
Might be the wrong one. We need the guy that's around 9 BC.
Oh, okay.
Not Titus Flavius, Titus Quintus.
Yeah, I guess confusing, isn't it? Yeah, I think I put some stuff up as well because Alan Wilson's done a lot of work on the Roman genealogies, which I think will tie into.
Yeah, I've got a spread on the table. I'm working out a map now, Ross. When I get a bit of time, I'm building something so I can see it. It could be quite some while.
Yes.
So when we look at the information on this guy, he seems to be a bit of a chancer, doesn't he?
I think all the Romans were.
Yeah,
it was for real in those days.
From the word hoard, then I got this possible narrative. I got a Lord's son led by the flesh, venomous, underhand. Ownership, we ourselves to prosper. Heyday, welcome. An image, welcome. Polished glory. Misuse, lofty egotism. So, if that was
because we're seeing the Titus familiar at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah. This is Titus Quintius Crispinus Supplicianus. So, some of that kind of dodgy, underhand, questionable character seems to be in that line. So it's there. His untrustworthiness is there. His self-seeking is there. So it's a possibility. Again, it's conjectural, but that kind of character portrait of him is findable, which is uncanny.
It is uncanny. Yes.
I've read the Welsh one first. Let me read the Latin one second. I should have started with that one, but we've got in the Latin for him we get signification, Crispini, son's successor, according to ascent, 40 ancestors, maritime, of people used to the sea, greatness. So we get some similar tropes to the first reading, but the meaning's different. What's interesting in here is this this sense of he's a successor according to ascent. Now, in the earlier information, it looks as if he might be adopted, which seems to be something that happened within the families. It wasn't always a biological son that was taken on or got to inherit. Sometimes there were invitees in of other lines that were sponsored and taken on. And there seems to be a mention
well,
there.
It seems quite important. I mean, Claudius famously did this with his daughter who married into the British royal family, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Being adopted seems to be an important diplomatic tool.
Yeah. Seems to be the way, seems to be the operation. And it's there right at the head of that statement there. We've got the sense of not quite sure who or what he was, whether he was biological or whether he was adopted. And it's there, and it seems to be backed up in the line when we have son successor according to ascent. So it's interesting that buys into that possibility. Since that family is a patrician family, and they're all, in that sense, they're really keen on their family history linking back to the Trojan ancestors. So we have that. We could work the Excel there in the line as possibly a number. So we have 40 ancestors. I did the count back, and it's about that amount.
Wow. Wow.
So it's 40 ancestors, maritime, okay, of people used to the sea. So again, we've got this possible Trojan link going into the greatness. So again, it's another viable story backed up in the Latin. It's a strong one in the Latin, I think. And yet in the Welsh, his kind of underhand character seems to come through, which is also associated. It's also there in the text, in the few bits of information that we've got of him in history. And that's again, what are the odds on that? Being present in both, kind of supporting each other. And that's when I thought I'd better contact you and say something interesting is going on.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah.
And I thought it'd be interesting to hear what you might think of that.
I don't know, really.
No, we don't know either, really.
No, it's let's throw it out there. Let's see what people come up with.
Yeah. So
I think a big part I would say is that the first thing to strike me is where the stone's found is important, isn't it? Where it is.
Yeah.
I mean, are we actually in Rhaetian territory? Do you think? Are we in?
Yeah, according to Monica, it's part of the old Rhaetia, and what that villa's doing there, although it's a very early period. The dating that the museum gives it is the 2nd century, but obviously this guy did accompany Drusus militarily in the region. So in that sense, there's a kind of foothold there, tentatively in history as we know it.
do you also know if the Hanoverians themselves, I mean, do they claim this descent? Is this something they latch onto and say we can trace ourselves all the way back to Rome?
I think that site, or let's say the genealogical site, is geared towards promulgating that view of supremacy. So there's a pros and cons on it, and you've got to say that there's information on there that you might want to question or test. There might be reasons for why some connections are there, but certainly it's interesting to know that spine follows through this family. We've got 3 of them on there, and we found the narratives for them.
Yeah, it's just making me think that this story with the Alps ties, it seems very similar to there's just so many familiar echoes going on in all this.
Yeah.
Like last week, we were looking at the British invasion of in the 380s. And that includes a crossing of the Alps. And then you've got Hanoverians who become on the British throne. Are they tracing back an ancient British link here? I mean, it's the whole thing is a bit strange, isn't it? It's almost like it's just been, like you say, it's been jumbled up a bit. We try and unjumble it somehow. Oh, it's frustrating business, isn't it? Because this George's connection keeps striking me as interesting.
Yeah, I'll be looking at that more because I know that it's an issue. It's an issue to get your head around and to understand more fully.
So I've never really looked at the distant claims of the Hanoverians, how they came to power, really.
I think Bob Shaw's book was interesting.
Well, Architecture of Power, yeah?
Yeah.
In which way is that tied with this then?
In the sense of the handover of the crown. And the machinations for that was very enlightening at the time. Yeah,
no, I think it's fascinating. I mean, I'd say in many ways my favorite part of all this is the history of history, is how the story changes over time. Because it's difficult to work out what the original actually happened, but what you can see is how the story's been presented over time. That's what you can research.
Yeah.
No one can argue with that. Whether or not it's right or not, that's the fun bit. But excellent. What's the plans from here then? What's the next bit?
Well, I'll go through the last one because I think it's the closest one.
Okay.
And then I'll talk about what my the next phase of what I'm doing is, apart from the decorating on the house and selling it, which is
don't worry about things like
that. There'll be. I'm looking forward to where I can have a proper desk and study. You know, with
that's always nice.
Don't have to pack things away.
Well, work's always waiting when we come back.
Yeah.
I'm lucky. My garden reached such a state that one of my neighbours offered to do it for me.
Yeah.
He doesn't want any payment. He's just said, "See, I'm doing mine anyway. It wouldn't take you much to come and give yours a trim and mow the lawn." And I was like, "Yeah, great." So I'll buy you lunch or something.
Get him a couple of pints in. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I'll give him a couple of pints and a big thank you from me. Yeah, so say you do British history, a big service. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll go through the last one that came. There may even be more. Who knows? But this this third one came through last week when I thought I was done. But this is this is the one which fits in with the proper timeline for the date for the stone.
What, the CNA bit or the Crispinus bit?
This is Titus Flavius Claudius Sulpicianus.
Okay.
What a mouthful.
See, it's another curious thing, isn't it? Alan Wilson points out is the sort of Roman obsession with the genealogies.
Yeah, their names really
have
their names down. Yeah,
you know, it's the same as the Welsh. It's not really a surname as such. You pick out ancestors, don't you?
Yeah.
I'm looking at it, CNA. It seems a strange combination of letters in English, doesn't it? But in Welsh,
it is.
There's loads of them in Welsh.
CNA, it's in Welsh. You can find something for it.
Yeah, what is rounded, knob? There's a whole. There's like a whole page then of CNA words.
There's a lot. I mean, I've what I've got half a dozen, I think, seem to be pertinent.
Yeah.
In the dictionaries that I have.
Okay.
So there might be more. There might be more Gobel there, but in the Latin for Titus Flavius. Now he's thought to have had a hand in the assassination of Commodus, and he married his daughter off to Pertinax. And in the Latin we get.
Sorry, just to clarify, assassination of Commodus. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I heard you right. Go on. Yep.
That's fantastic. Then we have British-Etruscan Flavius, according to assent. Repeating that again, and then 5-leaved rose, advance, given marriage.
Oh, sorry, down the bottom of the page. So, can you start that again? I was still working through all the words.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
okay.
In the Latin again, murderer describe, British-Etruscan Flavius, according to assent. 5-leaved rose, advance.
Not the right one.
Given marriage, noble. You're on the Welsh one there.
Yeah.
You're the Latin boy. There we go. Sorry. So that was a shock. When I saw that, I thought, there we go. We've got the break in the Signa, and we can get at the dirty deed. And it's if he was associated with it or thought to be, then this more clearly points the finger. Oh yes, you very well were. So that's a shock. Going through it, according to Ascent 5-leaved rose, we go back to that Crispini shield where we have the 5 roses, and we have that motif for the family. He's handed on his daughter in marriage to Pertinax, which is the marriage noble. So that we do seem to have those two chief memorable part or story of his life remembered in the stone, which is, again, it's astonishing. If we read it in the Welsh to see whether that backs it up, we've got a Lord's son, Venemancy.
Right, so number 2 is which is the first?
This is number 3, yes, this is the bottom
number 3.
line. So this matches with Titus Flavius again. A Lord's son, Venemancy, to dispose. I think that's Commodus. A petty jury to fly suddenly. I think those are the murderers. And then a straightening to prosper. So something had to be straightened out.
It is great to read, isn't it?
Yeah. Then well done. Welcome zeal. Welcome to rend, a swaggerer. That's Commodus again. He's a well-known showman, wasn't he, in the sense of what he got up to. And then to usurp monarchy, myself, or to usurp monarchy, I. So he's basically declaring there that he was in the party that killed Commodus. That's how I think it can be seen.
Yeah,
so
showing his alliance.
Yeah.
Allegiance.
So the Latin and the Welsh, there's no sense of the marriage occurring in that line, but it does tie in much more surely on the kind of disposal of Commodus and the group that did that, which is astonishing.
It is amazing.
Yeah, and the three narratives belonging to a family line, because they're all on this spine of, George the First, have a narrative which could be found and can be touched upon in the Latin and the Welsh in one set. I can't explain that. I can't.
Some mystery, huh?
I can't say how or why that would occur. If anybody out there can think or give an explanation for it, that would be interesting. So I'd like to hear some feedback on that. I can't say with any sense on, there's no rational explanation for that.
Well, the explanation is it's the. Yeah, I mean, we're already picking up the Roman story seems to fall apart anyway, doesn't it? This is the thing. Who are they talking about? My own pet theory is that, based on reading Fomenko and that, it was the idea of Rome as a city comes much later.
Yeah.
I mean, much, much later, Renaissance times. And he'd be talking about the before then, the prominent city was always Florence, with the Tuscany, as we call it now, with the land of the Etruscans.
Yeah.
The people who are fighting the British,
now, people lived elsewhere.
Empire were actually Etruscans rather than what we call Romans.
Yeah.
This is what this seems to tie in with, doesn't it? They're the same people, really. The Britons and the Etruscans are the same people on different sides of the Mediterranean.
Yeah, very much, yeah. What ties up again with that family line, okay, with the roses, for example, it breaks through into on the British side it empties out through let's say Magnus and connects with the bloodlines, and we have in North Wales the Lords of Bryn Van who carry that same motif, the Lords of Rose or Ross. It's there, it's present.
Oh, they got that there as well, because this starts to tie with the Rosicrucian thing, perhaps, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think.
So over in West Wales, there's like places like Red Roses and all that. And if you read,
I think Adrian Gilbert came
Blood of
across
Babylon
that idea in one of his books. Yeah. So it seems to be present. That idea seems to be present here.
Yes, when I saw the Red Roses, that's what jumped out at me, was the idea of Rosicrucianism. Because then, for those who are not aware of it, I mean, the idea is that you have Well, part of the idea is quite a deep thing, but is that you have the native rose, usually the white rose, the sort of natural one that just grows wild. But then to create the exotic varieties, you take your exotic rose and you graft it on.
Yeah.
This is why you have the native British, if you like, original royal family with these other names grafted on through marriage.
That's the key word is IMP, imp, in the Welsh, which is to graft. And that.
Oh, sorry, where's that? Sorry.
Oh, that's on.
It's not on here, but it's on the coins. All right, the way through the coins, instead of you have IMP,
Imperator or whatever.
And people read it as Imperator, but it's imp, it's graph. It can be read that way all the way through. This is a graph.
Yes, I can see. Yeah. To graft or to plant. Yeah. Like in this one here.
Yeah.
That's interesting, isn't it? I didn't even realise that.
Yeah.
Yeah, impin is a graft or a plant.
Yep.
Impio is a graft or a plant or to plant. Nothing to do with imperator at all, perhaps. Or again, another one of these.
It's a two-way thing.
It's both, isn't it?
It can give you both meanings. But I think there's a specific meaning to the word, and it's a title, but you have to do something in particular to be given the title, like win a victory. Not everybody's won a victory, yet they have the title. Right.
Well, in here it's got I think you've really hit on something here. I think because in this this is 1803. I think this one is. So you got the imp, just IMP. Imp is a scion, SCION.
Son, yeah. I found that.
Scion's the offshoot coming the other way, then, isn't it?
After I did all the work, I found that one after it. I've got to go back. I've got to go back to all of it.
After all that, imp is actually imp. Yeah, it's actually what it says, kind of thing. Yeah. Oh, you got me hooked into this a bit. Yeah, I need to start looking at some of these words and everything now. Yeah, I can see I can get gripped by this.
Yeah. So
yeah, very handy. Yeah, I hope more and more people get into this. It's just it'd be just so good if we get some sort of what we really need is a department of undergraduates working on it or master's students.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's an awful lot of spade work to do. I'm amazed how much he's done. Because it's so huge already, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a 2-hour bite every day, Ross.
I bet it is.
Sundays. Put my feet up on Sundays. Mostly.
Because even the word Chris is another Welsh word, isn't it? You have to look up all these old Welsh words.
Yeah.
So that could be a hard crust. Right, there we go. Well, thank you very much indeed. I'll stop the recording there for now. We'll carry on our chat a second. And I really look forward to seeing what people come back with, because this is huge, isn't it? It's absolutely huge.
So the next thing is to plan.
The next thing. Sorry, yes, yeah.
The next thing is to I've done the coins in that sense. I've got the spine of it. I'll have to do more, and I've targeted more to do. I'm building a tree as much as I can, so I can convey the sense of the Roman emperors to include the British grafting, as it were, and their passage through, and get all the marriages that I can that they're supporting, which are British too. I'm trying to build that picture. I'll take in whatever stones as well I can on the way, like this one, because this seems to be involved. So.
Yeah, and I wouldn't worry too much about the dates. I think most of these stones it is guesswork, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
The dates they put on is just someone having a punt at it, really.
Yeah.
Well, as we know with the British stones as well, some of them are miles out, hundreds and hundreds of years out.
Yeah.
There's no real way of dating them, and people just try to do it on context, don't they? And
the
artistic style and all this rubbish.
Yeah. That definitely tells the narrative of him being a master of the sea. You can read it in the text, so it really is him on the gravestone. So we really can date it by the narrative.
Yes, that's difficult. But if you're reading it first, and then
100 years earlier than that,
what you can't do is work out the date of the stone. This is the problem.
Yeah.
But the cart will lead the donkey sometimes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. We'll come back to this again soon.
Good. Thanks very much, Ross.
Cheers.
And speak to you soon. Okay.